Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we are taking a look at the final reveals for Dimension Force. We're going to go through all of the last 20 cards revealed for the set. This is the TCG specific version, so there's going to be some brand new cards, the new 7 cards for the TCG exclusive archetype libromancers. There's going to be a handful of OCG imports and even a couple of brand new cards that are just raw TCG exclusives as well. So let's get into this thing. Let's start off. Let's just go down the list here. Starting off with our, I guess this is a new card. I don't know of this card. Colonel on C String. Apologies on some of the artworks not being here when this yet. Should be here soon, but I want to get this video out. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon 2 level 4 lower warriors with different names from your hand to defense position. It's kind of like a more specific Goblinberg with a higher ceiling. Maybe something like Goki. Pulling 2 Gokis out of the hand is pretty good, but other than that, I don't see that card being very good. Next up here, we have Navy Dragon Mech. This, I believe, is an import, and it's actually a good card. It's a generic synchro. It's a machine water level 9 synchro. If you special summon, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of tuners in your graveyard and negate their effects till the end of the turn. Then if this synchro summon card is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target a tuner engrave and add it back to your hand. So has a little bit of float ability, has a little bit of negate ability, especially if you can quick synchro into him on the opponent's turn to negate, 2+ cards. That could be something pretty solid. Definitely a generic synchro I'm going to be looking to pick up for when it comes up. Next up we have Pastichiel Couverture. This isn't too crazy. Its monster effect is like if it's destroyed, you can put it in the Pendulum Zone. It takes 2 Pendulum monsters to make it. And if you have no other card in your other Pendulum Zone, you can place a face-up Pendulum monster from your extra deck into that zone. It's fine. It's a scale 1. It's technically an instant fusion target as well. I don't know what to tell you. This card's fine. Potentially down the line, it could be a super poly target. Most Pendulum decks don't leave a ton of Pendulum monsters on the field, but you never know when we'll get an archetype that actually has its boss monsters in the main, even though most of them tend to be wanting to go into the extra deck. But just something to keep in mind there. Omega Judgment, a new trap card. This card says target 1 face-up monster card in your spell and trap zone and 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them. That's pretty cool. Very specific decks could make use of this. Stuff like Crystal Beast come to mind. That's probably one of the big reasons they're doing this, because that structure deck is coming out in the upcoming months. The other thing is I don't know how this works with pendulums. Do pendulum monsters count as monster cards in a spell and trap zone, or do they count as spells technically because of the very specific nature of them being kind of like both cards? That's pretty interesting. Definitely be curious about that pendulum question there, but if it works, then maybe this is an interesting card there for sure. Next up, we have Backup Team. I don't know about this card. You draw cards equal to the number of cards your opponent controls, then put that same number back on the bottom of the deck. So you kind of get to fix your hand. And then during the end phase, if your opponent controls more cards than you do, while this card's in the grave, you can set it back to your field, but banish it the next time it leaves the field. Has a bunch of UA art on it, which made me really excited, and then I saw what it did, and I was like, oof, this card's awful. It's just not great, to be honest, at all. But yeah, okay. Moving on here. Let's skip. No, you know what? Let's do the libromancer. So we do have this one. This guy's the first one, and then we'll hit the other ones. Mr. Girl, Fire Burst, Realized, Bonded, Displaced, and Prevented. The first one is Fire. This one's a pretty good extender. Reveals a ritual monster in hand to summon himself, and then when you special summon, you can add a libromancer monster from deck. Pretty good. Just this one's actually one of the better cards in the deck for sure. Mr. Girl, if she's ritual summoned using a monster on the field, your opponent cannot target ritual monsters you control with monster effects. So weird little protection effect. And then if this card is special summoned, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and until the end of this turn, change its attack to 0 and negate its effects. I think the idea here is that the Mista Girl for the main deck lets you quick ritual on the opponent's turn. So you would set this up, get it quick ritualed on the opponent's turn, and then negate and make something 0. Fine, not great though. Libromancer Fire Burst, 2800, Cybers level 7. If he's ritual summoned using monsters on the field, he cannot be destroyed by battle, and it inflicts double damage. And this guy can always make 2 attacks on monsters per battle phase. And when a ritual monster, or when any monster declares an attack, you can banish a Libro ritual from grave to give this card an extra 200. Nothing too crazy, but he does apply a decent amount of damage pressure in the battle phase. But other than that, he doesn't really do anything. Libromancer, realize a new continuous spell. This card just says reveal a Libromancer ritual in hand to get a token of the same level. It doesn't have Libromancer in the name though. Keep in mind for the token, and you're locked into summoning only Libromancers while it's on the field. Libromancer Bonded, a new ritual spell. Summons any Libromancer. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field, so just a regular ritual card. To summon the monster, and if you ritual summon Fire Burst with this effect using Fire Starter on the field, it cannot be destroyed or banished by card effects. Those are fine protection effects, but Fire Burst, as we just saw, doesn't really do enough. This card's pretty poop. Like, regular ritual cards just don't get it done in 2021, to be honest. And then we move to the final two cards here for the Libromancers. It's two trap cards. The first one is Displaced. Target a Libromancer monster you control and a monster your opponent controls. Bounce yours to the hand to take theirs. If it was a ritual monster, you're good. But if it wasn't a ritual monster, you had to bounce. Then they get their monster back on the end phase. So still a decent little snatch steal card, but you have to obviously set up for it. Next up here we have Libromancer Prevented. If you control a Libromancer monster, you can target a monster your opponent controls. This turn it cannot be used as material for pretty much any extra deck mechanic, fusion, synchro, exceed, or link. And then on the end phase, if you don't control a Libromancer ritual monster, you have to send this card to the graveyard. It's the one downside, but this is continuous, so I kind of like it that, theoretically, turn after turn, you could, lock monsters. I like that it gives, has that possibility of, continual value, every turn, for sure. But yeah, there you go for the Libromancer stuff. All in all, it's fine. I don't think they're all that much more powerful than they were before, but obviously feel free to let me know your thoughts down below if you disagree specifically. And then we move to a bunch of OCG imports. These I know are imports because I'm pretty sure almost all of these were V-Jump promos at one point. First up is Motor Frenzy. This is just like a machine monster. If he's tribute summoned and then leaves the field or sent from field to graveyard, he gives you 2 machine tokens. Fine. Chow Sai, the Ghost Stopper. This guy fucks up spells and traps in the graveyard. They can't use their effects, and he helps you banish them. Crow Tengu. This is a zombie monster that if he's destroyed by an opponent's card effect or special summoned from the graveyard, you can target an attack position monster your opponent controls and Book of Moon. Oh no, it just destroys it. Sorry, just destroys it. So theoretically, we could set up a quick reborn for this guy. That could be pretty good. Yakuza, Lord of the Eight Thunders. Decent little extender. He banishes a level or rank 8 monster from grave to summon himself, and then he can shuffle a level or rank 8 extra deck / ritual monster, and then get an effect to draw or either gain 1,000 based on which type it was. Not the worst card in the world. It'd take a very specific level 8 spam deck to use him, but he could come up. Chang-Chi Desperado, she helps you send an extra zombie monster from deck or hand to grave. But she is level 6, so she is a little clunky, but all in all, I think if you play a zombie deck where you have a hand where you can already kind of set up Ballardrock, and that way Bloom can kind of get you into her. She kind of just helps you get extra materials rotating. She's also a good level for synchro climbing for that deck with their new synchro stuff coming in this set. So it makes a lot of sense that we get her here. Plus her design is cool. Curse of Dragon, the magical knight dragon, takes a warrior plus a level 5 or higher dragon. This could be a super poly target down the line. While he's on the field, he helps you banish monsters from grave to summon a level 7 dragon fusion if you're going to fuse. And then if this card is fusion summoned, you can target a spell or trap that lists Gaia the Dragon Champion and add it back to your hand. Could be a instant fusion target for Gaia as well, but yeah, funny. Odd Eyes Wing Dragon. This is a weird, not great pendulum synchro. It takes level 8s, but it needs a Dark Tuner plus a Clear Wing monster, so very specific on the materials. He can slow target a monster on the field, negates effects, or during the battle phase, quick effect, destroy all level 5 or higher monsters your opponent controls. So all in all, not the craziest card at the end of the day. And then V-Land Hydra, the last card we have here. Gains 300 attack for every monster it's co-linked, and you can tribute a link 3 or lower monster co-linked with it to summon that many tokens. But you cannot link summon the rating of the monster you tributed. So if you tribute a link 3 for 3 tokens, you cannot go into a link 3 again, which is kind of funny, but interesting. I don't see this card coming up unless you're playing a very specific deck that plays with tokens. But yeah, all in all, it's fine. So there you go. Also, Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion revealed to be one of the Starlight rares. Very, very cool. Obviously, they've been working through a lot of those classic hand trap cards. A lot of people will be into that card for sure. But there you go. Those are all the reveals for today. I would say the biggest winners here are the Navy Dragon Mech, the new generic Synchro, Omega Judgment for those specific decks like Crystal Beast, and then we'll have to see if it works with Pendulums. I also think that the Shang-Chi the Desperado is also an interesting card for zombies. She's high level, so she is kind of adding another brick to them there, but I still think she could be worth it theoretically. And then the Libromancer stuff is fine. I'll probably do a more in-depth video talking about the archetype as a whole post this support. And I think until then, we're chilling. So there you go. That's the finished set of Dimension Force. Let me know your thoughts down below, not only on the new cards here, if there's anything that particularly catches your eye, but also Dimension Force as a whole. Now that we have the entire full set for the TCG fully revealed, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on how good you think the set really is. But I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and subscribe if you haven't, and peace.